This is Continuecast.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Continuecast, the twice-monthly podcast where we play a old school game, a cult classic, and tell you guys what we think if we'd game over and continue. First episode is our initial feelings. Second episode is our final verdict. Today we will be doing our final verdict of this month's game, Star Tropics for the NES. My name is Paul.
I'm Nick.
I'm Josh.
And we have a special guest with us today.
It's me again. It's Cousin Luke.
It's Cousin Luke.
Cousin Larry.
Our aunt let him stay over again for another week.
Well, she still hasn't picked me up.
She doesn't care about you, Luke.
You forgot about it.
And today's episode is brought to you by our non-sponsors. Oh, that wasn't a good one.
That was a pretty good one. That was really good. Our sponsor today, Monster Energy Drink. Refresh, rehydrate, revive.
Monster. Delicious.
Monster.
That sounds like pee, again. I'm going to say that every single week.
I'll tell you what it doesn't. It doesn't taste like pee at all. It's delicious.
How do you know pea's not delicious?
I've accidentally drank it. I'll be honest.
Accidentally.
Right now,
You accidentally drank pee?
I one time
no
accidentally
such
drank
thing.
pee.
How did you accidentally drink pee?
How did that happen?
How did you accidentally
I don't want to
drink
explain
pee?
the story. I don't want to tell the story right now. We'll save that for we'll save that for a drunk podcast.
We'll save that for the episode where we don't review any games.
Yes. And we talk about our pee stories.
Where we talk about our
drinking.
pee stories
Actually-
and our poop stories.
I think I told it during the poop story
Oh,
night.
no.
Poop story night.
People won't know what we're talking about. We had a night where we all told poop stories, but that'd be a good podcast one day.
Dude,
Poopcast.
that's a really good.
Poopcast.
That's a really good idea.
We'll do that at some point.
Poop podcast. That's
Yeah.
great.
We'll let the fans write in and tell us if they.
Yeah.
they
Well, on
can
our
do that.
most recent episode of Continue, we did dick joke for about 5 minutes.
and that didn't work out that well.
People were not happy about
I was
that.
going to say, with the success of frontal area,
We're
Moving
gonna try the
on
back.
back.
we're going to try the
Try the
backside.
Yeah, so flip it around back. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Flip it. Hit it.
See you
See you
later.
later,
Bye.
All right, so let's get down to brass tacks here, guys. No one has said brass tacks since 1942, since the war started.
Since they had a tax on brass.
41
41, the war started.
for us. 39.
Not-
for us.
42.
It's
I
not-
thought
it's not brass
military
tacks.
That's a joke. That was a joke.
December 7th,
No.
1941.
This is the literal. This is the literal hour.
Let's get down to brass tactics.
Okay. Anyways,
I'm sorry.
so we're talking about Star Tropics, and we played it for the entire month. And last week we gave our first impressions, and now we're going to give our final impressions. But real quick, we'll recap what the game's about. In Star Tropics for the NES, you play as Mike Jones.
Mike
Mike
Jones.
I'm really glad you guys did that. I was hoping that you would. And your father, right? Am I right?
Mr.
No,
Jones.
Uncle, your uncle.
It's not your father.
No,
No.
we talked about this last time.
Yeah,
Paul
seriously,
Ritchey,
bro.
bad at lineage.
Terrible at lineage. Yeah,
Shows
it's
how
your
much-
Uncle Steve.
Okay.
Is that what it is?
No, it wasn't.
No, it's not.
It was Dr. J.
Uncle J.
Yeah.
Yeah, but his name
Yeah.
is Steve, though.
Stephen Johnson.
Steve
Stephen Jones?
Steve Jones.
Was it Steve Jones?
I think it's
Doesn't
Uncle
matter.
Steve. Yeah, I wrote it.
Doesn't
down.
matter. It was Jones. Dr. J. Your
Dr.
uncle.
J.
Your uncle, Dr. J. There's too many prefixes there, man.
Well, this game is all about alliteration.
Yeah, it's true.
So
Uncle Dr. J.
Yeah. C sub, C cola.
So he's been captured by
Coca-Cola.
aliens. He's been captured
No,
by aliens.
you don't know it's aliens at first, though.
Yeah, huh? They said he said it in his note that he left for you. He said, "I've been captured by aliens."
Yeah, I think it said that.
Did it?
Yeah, it does.
I
Here's
didn't
the
read
thing.
that note. I just used that special.
It
code
doesn't
on
fucking matter.
Right.
But
He was captured by plot device and plot happened.
plot's
Then
happening.
The plot happened.
So
That's far from
your
right.
uncle has been captured, and you are tasked to find him on a Zany Island adventure. Island hopping,
Right.
native banging,
Yeah.
Possibly.
drug doing, possibly.
Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
drug doing.
Definitely
Some
drug
drug
doing.
Yeah.
And,
Good thing you're an all-star baseball.
Baseball
Yeah.
pitcher.
Pitcher. That's right.
Armed with a yo-yo.
Armed with a yo-yo.
Makes perfect sense.
Doesn't get more serious. than
Couldn't even
that.
afford a baseball on this fucking shithole of an island.
They could afford a
How?
babu, though.
And a bat. Yeah, they can
You
afford
get
baseball
baseballs
bats.
later, though.
Coca-Cola Island is fourth world.
Well, here's the thing. They're so good at baseball on this island that they hit them all out with home runs.
Onto
with
other
the bats.
islands, yeah.
onto
That's
other
a very positive outlook.
islands. I'm trying.
That's a very
Way to
positive
go.
way of thinking about this shittiest place on Earth.
I try to remain
Good
positive.
job.
So what you're saying is this island is really Mars.
Yes.
Because the gravity is
Yeah.
lower, they hit more home runs.
Exactly. It has ridiculous
Yeah.
gravity.
True.
So let's get down to the story again and just go over that. I know it's very minimal, but I think there's some things we can talk about. Why don't you start out, Luke?
With what?
Okay. Your feelings on this story.
My feelings on the story. Okay, I thought you wanted me to talk about, like, pick up from where we left off
We didn't
last
really leave
time.
off
We
with
didn't
much.
really leave off anywhere. But
I don't think there was much to leave off with.
all right, so we're gonna just keep rolling island to island, looking
Yeah.
for our uncle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I hate this game.
Oh, wow.
The plot is like sillier than tits on a bird, man.
No, it's
Hold on.
I mean,
if
look,
you were trying, real quick, if you were trying to like wait it out and see what Luke's thing was going to be, you already know. So you can, all those listeners can just leave now.
For all of you that are here just for Luke's
yeah,
opinion.
for all my moms listening.
Go ahead, though.
I'll be home by 8.
For as much hype as was behind this game,
Yeah.
like going into playing this, I really don't get it because the story is dumb. It doesn't make me care at all.
Right.
And I know it's an 8-bit game, but give me a break.
Here's what I think of, real quick. I wrote this down. It is what it is. It's just there to get you from dungeon to dungeon.
Right.
But I think they're trying too hard because where Zelda was really good was in its minimalism.
Right, it
Because
didn't
it was-
explain anything.
Exactly.
Right.
It was symbols. It was like a mythology type thing. It was less about all these little plot devices that tied
Right.
together, and more
Right.
about save the princess. There's characters and there's places, but they don't. Doesn't matter what they are or having people talk to
Right.
you. It just matters what you see and what you do.
Well, whereas Zelda, a raft in the water makes sense. In an island where you have a yo-yo as a weapon, a submarine with a robot makes less sense.
It's such a weird thing because like I felt like it was like one of the first games I remember playing where I'm like, oh my god, this is in the real world. Like it wasn't some. I know it gets fantastical and
Right.
stuff, but like I was like, oh, he's just some kid.
Yeah.
I think like when I played like Master Blaster, it was just like, oh, some kid, he gets transported in this magical world, and I was like, oh, cool, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
Right.
you're
Like
not-
Monster Party too is like that. Yeah.
Right, exactly. You're just kind of like transported there. But like you're right, like the story is kind of like second to all this stuff. It really is just get to this other shit.
Right.
Because there's an overworld, but there's no point to the overworld because it's just like separated into these segments, and you can't ever like go back and like you talk to these
Right.
people, but like only one of them has any purpose at any given point.
Right.
Like in a village
Yeah.
of like 20 NPCs, one of them has the thing you're looking for. Everybody else just says nonsense. There's no like side quests or anything like that.
Exactly.
You know?
The- I'm sorry. The overworld is just more filler of puzzle. Like
Right.
it doesn't. I don't know. Like it doesn't like. It's like okay. Well now I know I have to go to this other island and I'm gonna have to figure this shit out and look for rocks and walls and waterfalls and shit to get to just look for more of that shit in another part of the game. Like it's the same thing.
Yeah.
Well, and also too, the game is very like segmented. I mean, there's like chapters, and they're contained in themselves, right? But then on top of that, you go into these dungeons, and even those are like contained. Whereas like in Zelda, you get like a sub weapon or you get something else, and then you have it forever, and it's yours forever. Whereas in this one, you get these sub weapons, and there's a finite amount of them. But then on top of that, you lose them once you get out of the dungeon.
Right.
Or die.
Or die.
Or die, right,
Right.
exactly.
Which
but
is
then,
going to happen.
right, it's going to happen all the time. But then on top of that, some of the dungeons in like the later chapters and stuff, like you wind up going back into the overworld to get to the next part of it. So in that first part of the dungeon, you might get something really cool, go to this overworld to walk 2 screens and go back into like another part of the dungeon, and then you've lost all the stuff that you got. So
Right.
it kind of like fucks you like super hard.
Exactly. There's a feeling of starting over pretty much every
time.
single time, and it's
It's life, man.
it really takes the continuity out of everything. That's life. You're right.
It's life, man.
That's deep. But it's this feeling of starting over again, and when you die, it's so frustrating because like you build up to 6 hearts, and you like or even further as you go along.
Right.
But then when you die, you start with the minimum 3 hearts again.
Right.
So it's like you have 3 lives, but once you use that first
Well,
life, you're at a disadvantage.
You did that in Zelda too, but the good thing about Zelda was you could just go into the overworld and kill 5 things.
Oh,
and then
that's
you
right.
Get your hearts back, but you can't do that in this game.
Dude, do you feel like it was very? This is going into gameplay, but do you feel like it was really stingy with the like the freebies
Oh,
for
it's
yourself.
stingy as fuck, man.
Yeah.
Dude, this game is so stingy. Even the ability to gain extra lives, like those little boards that you find with the little face on them, you pick it up. Sometimes it takes lives from you.
Sometimes it's negative. Like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah.
I'm like, that's like the trolliest thing ever. The guy who made it was just like, you know what's gonna be really good? They're gonna think it's an extra life, but it's a negative life.
That's life, man.
It's like poison mushroom, man.
Dude.
But that's the thing. There's no method to any of the madness.
Right.
You know, like you're saying, there's no continuity between things. It's like, I'm going to walk in here, I'm going to do this, and then I'm going to do this. And then the next thing that it leads to has absolutely nothing to do with the thing I just did, other than the fact that I have to go forward because I can't go backward anymore.
Right. Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Especially because the doors close behind you, and like slowly the dungeon becomes like shut off to you, and you can't even go. There's not like that sense of exploration like Zelda.
And you get punished for exploration.
Oh
Yeah.
More than you get
Yes,
rewarded.
you do.
Yeah.
It's like it's great at first. You're like, you know what, this is kind of cool. An 8-bit game kind of lets you wander around, do your own thing.
Right.
And you realize that every time you do your own thing, you get fucking raped.
Right.
If you go to some random room and it's just like water death.
Yep.
See ya. Start over.
Yep.
Just because you were curious.
What kind of islander can't swim in fucking water?
Well, you're not an islander.
What kind of professional baseball player can't swim in water?
Yeah, that kid's arm
One who
strong
can only
as
use
shit.
one arm.
Yeah, there it is. You just swim in circles.
until he dies.
Also, motherfucker, can't you float? Right?
Put air in your lungs, motherfucker.
Get on your fucking back and float, bitch.
We're devolving into gameplay, or not devolving, but we're going off into gameplay, which I do want to go over later. But let's continue on the story just a little bit. There were some really like silly plot points that I just want to go over before we move on to like the next portion of this. I thought it was really funny that you're in a sub after you beat the second island, and you're traveling, and it's like, oh, the weather's getting bad, and you're like, oh no, we're getting effed up by weather here.
Because
But we can't submerge. Why don't we submerge? There's no weather underwater. You could submerge and you'd be fine. There's no
Underwater,
weather
it's
there.
always raining.
It's always
Yeah.
raining.
Water everywhere. Yeah, some of that stuff was like they should have just made it a boat. Like, it would have just made it easier if it was just a boat.
They just wanted it to be technologically cool.
Well, they
because,
wanted you to go through the walls.
Oh,
and do
yeah, they
all
needed that,
stupid
Yeah.
shit that
And
they wanted
submerge
you
and
to do.
that.
Yeah.
It's like you can't submerge whenever you want. You can only do it when there's these little blocks that tell you can go under
Yeah.
that only take you to another part.
So
you
just
know?
make it a cave. Just make it like
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
a cave system.
A
and you
hidden
don't know-
cave.
Right.
Right.
You don't know where it is.
There's already hidden caves everywhere.
Imagination. Come on.
Also, I thought I found a really good line. I like to pick out the lines that I thought were really silly, and I liked when you went into the I think it was the third village, the second real village, where you walk in and you're finding where the princess is and she's sick, and you walk in and there's just that guy standing there and just says, "I'm just hanging out. He is the chief." Just like what? Like what was the point of putting that guy in there?
He wants to know who's in charge, man.
He's just like, you gotta go that way, bro.
I have a feeling we're missing something in the translation here. Like, they're like all these people might have had like really cool things to say, but they were like, "Fuck it, just make them say something stupid."
Dude, and also like the villagers, like for all those NPCs, they don't give you one piece of useful information
No.
at all. There's one dungeon, right, where you get this fucking like rod of seeing or something, right? And like nobody tells you how to use it. Like I started playing, and I got frustrated. I was like, okay, I just picked this up, and I was like, oh my god, did it glitch out? Where is it? It's not in my inventory. You have to pause and then go to another screen.
Like a select screen.
Yeah, like you pause and hit down, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, you got this other sub menu here of stuff.
Right.
But then like nobody tells you like how to use it, where to use it, at what points to use it, and like how to advance. So like there's no way to play this game without like a FAQ or without like a walkthrough.
Or as we said yesterday or the other day when you texted us, I forget what day it was that you texted.
Yeah, so I was playing and I texted you guys. I forget what I said.
It was you said you told us about how to use the Rada site, and we were like, and Josh goes, "Thanks, Game Pro," or not Game Pro,
Thanks,
thanks
Nintendo
Power. And I was like, "Yep, that's appropriate." In fact, who was it? One of our readers wrote in about needing the Nintendo Power. It's really funny that you said that he said that because I was just like, "Yep, that's basically it."
Yep. Can you imagine?
Oh, here it
that?
is. It was 4DM that said this. 4DM, who made a very funny dancing video of us a little while ago. He said, "I want to know how much the money the Nintendo Game Counselor hotline made back in the day with people calling." It wasn't Nintendo Power, it was the game hotline, but I remember that hotline.
I do too.
With people calling for code 747. Hell, I had to call them the second time I played the game as a kid because my mom had thrown out my letter. Can't blame her for throwing out the soggy piece of paper in my bedroom, though.
Dude, that's awesome. Can I tell you, like, let's talk about that for like 2 seconds.
Yeah.
That was like the coolest thing ever. Like when you got that,
Yeah.
right? Because it's like this thing that's not in the game.
That's a cool story bit. That was cool about the story.
That's really cool. Where you're like, hey, remember that letter I sent you? And like when I got stuff as a kid, I like looked through all that shit. I think we talked about this before. Where like,
Oh, the booklet from Zelda.
dude,
yeah,
like
I'll
I could tell
read
you
it
like
forever.
everything that's on like
Yeah.
the Mario 3 like
Yeah.
instruction booklet, like all the drawings and stuff. I used to draw them all the time.
Yep.
But like with this, the same kind of thing. It like immersed you in this like world for a second, and then you get this piece of paper, and you're like, oh, that's cool. That's a nice little thing, for a letter from his uncle. And then when you realize that it's part of the game, and that you need like to do something in real life to get further, that's fantastic.
It's a great story element.
But then on top of that,
Luke's got a point to make.
but like on top of that, they weren't thinking about like renting this game. You know what I mean? Or
Right.
or like letting your friend borrow it, or
It probably wasn't
used. There's probably not even the used.
They couldn't even
game
expect
market.
that yet. They had
Right.
no idea there was going
Right.
to be the third party thing. They were living in the moment.
Yeah.
Look, there's
life, man.
thinking outside the box, and then there's that bullshit.
You really didn't like it?
No, because that's so stupid.
How can you not like? You talk about that Metal Gear thing all the time.
It's in your hand.
no the Metal Gear case.
Yeah, you just
the
flip
back
the
of the
case
case.
over.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, but like, what if like
I didn't have to mail it away with 6 UPC codes and get my fucking Frosted Flakes and then worry
But
about.
that's like the same thing though.
It's-
Yeah, but
it's
think
kinda the
about
same.
how much this derailed your gameplay of this game.
Well, dude, it like derailed my gameplay of Metal Gear when it happened too. But like when you're like, oh, that's cool.
I know what you're saying. It's
I
sort of
disagree.
like you're watching a movie and they're like, well, if you want to figure out what's happening, you got to get up and pause the movie and go to the bathroom and do this little letter thing and then come back and watch the rest of the movie. It's sort of like it totally takes
Yeah.
you out of the
It's like an
experience.
Easter egg where you in a DVD where you have to like hit a number on your
Right,
remote
right.
and
Yeah,
shit.
except,
all that
it's,
shit.
except it's a thing.
Right, except you need to do it.
Right, in order to get by. Yeah, I do. I agree. It would be better if it was like a special thing. You know what I mean? Be like, put this code into the computer and it fucking plays a song and dance. Something like that. That's like a cool, like an Easter egg rather than like
Right.
part of the gameplay.
Like you could,
know?
you can't progress until you
Like
do
the
this
mighty
thing.
bomb jacks fly around or whatever, like in Tecmo Bowl.
Yes,
I just like them and wanted to talk about them.
you
Video
just wanted
games.
to wedge that reference in
I
here.
just fucking
Didn't
squeezed it in, man.
you? Let's move on to graphics. I think we've covered story enough, and we can all agree the story for the most part is there to just progress you through
Right.
the dungeons,
Right.
which we probably would have done without a story. You know.
Right.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I have a cold, and I'm sorry,
Aw.
listeners. Just getting over it.
Yeah, but real quick on the story thing before we move on, there are
Yeah.
like parts where like they're just like, well, fuck that, that's not important anymore. Like, okay, so at one point, right during one of the chapters, one of the chapters is really short because you go to this thing and you go to this place and they're just like, hey, there's like a whale in the ocean, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So then it's like, okay, go to the next island because there's nothing to do on this island.
Right.
And then you move off to the side and a fucking whale eats you, right?
Yeah.
And you explore inside this whale in the submarine.
Right.
And you come across a Bobo or whatever his name is.
Babu.
Babu. Right. Babu's just there and he's just like, oh yeah, I was looking for your uncle on this raft and I got eaten by a whale. Isn't that crazy? I bet you we could start a fire and make him sneeze us out. And you're just like, oh, okay, I guess that's what we're
I
going
gotta
to
have
do.
I guess we
do
watched
that.
Pocono.
Yeah.
Pinocchio. I guess we watched the Pocono Mountain
Pocono
movie.
Mountains.
I watched Pinocchio at the Poconos.
So you go
I
and find like this
direct-
lighter, right? Bring it back to the dude. You set the raft on fire. The whale sneezes you out, right?
Like
And you
it
li-
would.
Yeah, like obviously.
Like,
it
that's
would,
science.
right? Like they don't have the fucking
Disney science.
bristle teeth.
Yeah, what are those called?
I don't know, whatever.
The catch plankton.
Kale? No, that's
That's food.
whatever.
Let's forget about that.
Whatever.
Move on from that science.
So it spits you out like not like okay. So there's so much fire and everything starts shaking, right? And Babu's like, "Oh no, what are we gonna do?" And your sub is like right there, like literally one space away from him,
Right.
and like he's not just like, "Let's get in the fucking sub." The whale spits all three of you out, you, Babu, and then the sub, right? And you come. The next screen is this island. Both of you land on this island, and the sub lands in like one of those like sub landing
Yeah.
things,
That's
right?
pretty clutch.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty crazy. So then Babu is like, he's like, hey, Dr. J's last words were, evil aliens from distant planet. Tell Mike to dip my letter in water, right? So that's how you know to like dip the letter in
Right.
water. And then you're just like, all right, cool. Peace, Babu. And you like leave him on the fucking island.
After you had that amazing experience together.
Yeah, like this guy is like so determined to find that guy. He goes on his raft, he gets eaten by a whale, and you're just like, all right, cool, thanks, peace, bro.
You know what I just realized too? Another biblical undertone.
Yeah, man. Yep.
Jonah, dude.
Jonah,
the
dude.
whale.
Right.
Go in peace, bro.
Go in peace, Babu. Dude, so that's like I was just like, oh, I'm just gonna leave this guy on this fucking island forever and then just peace out with my adventure. There's like a lot of moments like that.
You could have stayed.
I could have stayed and hung out.
I
with
mean,
him.
you can just
Shut the game
not
down.
move forward and be
Right.
like,
Yeah.
well, this is where I live with Babu now.
You can RP.
we are going to raise this robot as our child.
We need to start like a web community where we RP in old Nintendo games.
Hope this robot's delicious because there's no food on this island at all. Oh, also, when you, I'm sorry.
No, it's fine.
When you get to finally meet Dr. J again, right? So you meet him, and he's just like, Mike, there's fucking aliens like right there. The mothership is like right there. There's these 3 cubes. I need you to go get them. I'll wait here.
I'm like, motherfucker, you're coming with me. Show me
You're
where the
fucking-
goddamn cubes
You're
are.
fucking Dr. Scientist. You come with me to the alien thing instead of sitting here while I and what is it, like an 11-year-old kid with a yo-yo.
An 11-year-old professional baseball player.
Professional baseball
Rookie
player.
of the year.
Fucking MVP is gonna go into the alien spaceship while his parental guardian and he just waits and
You're like,
watches.
what? You're not gonna tell me what their blood type is or what it's made out of or anything? You
You're
got
not gonna tell
nothing.
me anything?
You got
You're not gonna
nothing
tell
for me?
Nothing about that. You just
Fuck you, Uncle Jay.
go do that. Uncle Jay. Uncle Jay.
Fuck you, Uncle Dad Jay.
Oh my god. Dude. There's just like moments like that, and I was just like, oh okay. And he's like standing in front of you, like so you can't get past him until you talk to him, and then you talk to him, and he just like slides over.
You just shimmy.
Right.
He just
That,
shimmies
that
over.
old
Go.
Nintendo shimmy over.
Yeah.
Just gonna wait right
I
here
can
for
go.
you to
The
go.
old Final Fantasy shimmy over.
Like them aliens.
But see, this game doesn't take itself seriously though, and that's kind of nice.
That's
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Well, see, that's the thing. It doesn't take itself seriously, but it's like it takes itself oddly enough seriously in trying to tell a story. You know, like whereas the Zelda is like serious, like to a
Right.
certain extent, but it doesn't care about being serious. It cares about just being a fun game with a cool mythology. This is like, well, it's zany, but it's the story.
Yeah.
So
Right.
Well, let me tell you something. There's a reason why there is no Star Tropics 2
No, there's a Star Tropics too.
or 3 or 4
You didn't let him finish.
I'm sorry.
or 5. It's not a saga that everybody is like waiting for the next one.
That's true.
That's
yeah.
why there's no
I'm sure there's somebody out there who's like, I'm still waiting for Star Tropics 3 to come out.
Oh yeah, you know there's that dude that named his kid Babu.
Oh my god. He's fucking yo-yo baseball champ.
Yo baseball champ.
Ouch.
so let's move on to the graphics then.
Oh, great.
I mean, we don't have too much to talk about because we talked about pretty much all the main things with the graphics, but let's talk about where I'm sorry. My throat is just breaking up. Here. I need to take a sip of this delicious
But,
monster.
Let's
yeah,
fill
we'll
in
talk about the
some time.
graphics. I mean, they were pretty good for NES graphics. I mean, they were kind of simple. You know, nothing too crazy.
Yeah,
a lot of
right.
buttholes. Like, there's that pig butthole. And then, like, one of the bosses you fight later on
Has a
is, like,
butthole.
a butthole with, like, attached to an intestine. Like, it's like a worm, but it just looks like...
It looks like a butthole.
Looks like a colon.
Oh,
Plus, there was that
that's
one
right.
character with the
Yeah.
butthole in her head.
That's right.
That's just racist.
I played a different game, I think.
I think those were eyeballs.
Oh.
Oh, face buttholes.
butthole. One time I cried out of my face buttholes.
You know what I liked about it? The graphics are alright. You know, what they are, what they are. But the monsters are still pretty detailed for like a Nintendo game,
Yeah.
and you can tell what they are, which is kind of nice.
Right.
Yeah, they were fun sprites. Like, they were fun little, like, oh, that's a
Yeah.
cephalopod. Oh, there's a starfish. You know, like,
Right.
yeah. they were
Like
kinda
you could
neat.
tell what they were going for with each of the monsters, as opposed to some NES games where you're like, what the hell is that
Right,
thing?
right.
Like in Ninja Turtles, the first one,
those
TMNT.
Yeah.
Blob
The
monsters.
arm monsters and stuff. Like,
Right,
what?
right.
Flying legs.
Flying
Yeah.
legs.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's probably more of a thing of just lazy character design on their part than it is graphics. But
But then at the same time, like, some of the stuff is, like, super detailed. Like, whenever they go into those cutscenes, those people are, like,
Yeah, they're really nice.
they're nice, but they're, like, weird looking. Like, for some reason. Like, and one of the things, you got to, like, save this dude's daughter, and then you go and, like, save her, and she, like, wakes up, and she's like, oh, I feel better. And her face, she has, like, these cheeks.
Forever Alone. She looks like she's
that.
forever
She looks
alone.
like
That's-
Forever
I
Alone.
wrote that note down.
I was going to say, she looks like in Eraserhead, the lady in the radiator with, like, super cheeks.
I don't remember.
I don't know. It
It's
just
been a
looks
while
like she
since I
has like
watched it.
super mumps, and she just like is like she's like I'm all better, and I'm like really? Are you better?
Really?
Are you better?
Have you looked in a mirror? Oh wait, you're on an island. You don't have those.
Double goiter.
Oh,
Double goiter. Oh man, she's in bad shape.
Sick,
then.
Damn,
man.
dude.
Because they don't have the medical care on that
No.
island.
No,
They take care
they
of
do
double
not.
goiter.
Well, no,
Well, the
'cause the doc-
aliens,
yeah.
aliens abducted
They got
Dr.
their
J.
doctor.
That's
They're
why they got
Dr.
the
Scientist.
Yep. I have a note here that this is just I had to read my pure note because I was taking notes of the monsters in the one dungeon. Blue chocobos, evil flying monkeys, chicken zombies. Jesus.
Dude, there is a lot of Jesus in this. Like a lot of people are like, oh, it's because we got saved because we're under the Southern Cross. It's like, bitch, that's upside down cross, you devil worshippers. I know.
We know what's up.
We know what's up.
Yep.
We from the east. We know what's up.
One thing that's kind of crazy, right, is that I guess it's kind of like a gameplay thing.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's
But
fine.
so you start the game with like a yo-yo, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then you go visit like the queen of this like Amazon kingdom, right?
Death by Snoo.
And Death by dude. That's what I wrote. Fucking snoo right here. But like, dude, she's just like, oh, great job. I see that you're using that yo-yo. Here's a fucking mace. She gives you like that fucking like Morning Star or whatever it is, and you're just like, oh, okay.
This is better
Why-
than a yo-yo.
This
Why
is
are you so
way
much
better?
Well, obviously they're the warlike Amazons of the
Yeah.
island system, whereas
That's true.
opposed to the peaceful villagers that we found in the beginning.
Peaceful Japanese villagers.
Yeah.
This game was based
The
off
Filipino
of.
villagers.
Oh, yes, yes.
yeah.
Because they were
Alien
super
stick.
Christian. Catholicism.
So crazy.
Do you think that yo-yo was one of those cheap-ass cheater yo-yos from the 90s that automatically came back to
Oh,
you?
those were
Probably.
fun.
Do you think it was
What
one
were
of those
they
big-
called, man?
I can't remember.
Cheap ass cheater yo-yo.
Cheap-ass cheater yo-yos.
By Duncan.
They were by Duncan. They were by Duncan, dude.
Do you remember the butterfly yo-yos?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Remember the ones
yes,
that like turn colors and flip and like light up when you did it?
Yeah, man.
Shit, yeah,
Dude, those are sweet. I remember they had like commercials of like kids like in the dark, which is the most dangerous place to
Yeah.
play with a
Swinging
yo-yo.
yo-yos
Yeah. Like just flinging yo-yos in circles with their friends all around.
Dude, there was a summer where I was just like, I'm gonna be a professional yo-yo person.
Yeah.
Never.
And then I did it.
Never. So there I am at the tournament at
At the
nationals.
And my,
Come on.
yo-yo
and my
Olympics.
brother Fred Savage was there. And my hot girlfriend Jenny Lewis.
And then Nintendo unveiled that there was going to be a new yo-yo, and it was the first time they saw that yo-yo.
And it was Star Tropics.
Oh my god, what a nightmare.
But Jenny Lewis was in that movie, so it's okay.
It's okay.
That was Nick's life.
Dude, it was. I was there. I lived it. I lived it.
How was hanging out with Jenny Lewis?
She was cool. She was good.
You still keep in touch with her?
I wish.
Yeah, I
She's
wish,
super hot
right?
now. Yeah.
would
I
have
love her.
I would have her.
I would have her.
I would ruin her for you.
You would half her?
Yeah.
Like half her?
She's
H-A-L-F?
like, I'm gonna break that bitch in half.
I would splay her open.
It was a double entendre.
I'd make her my tauntaun.
I would cut her
thought
open
Jenny
and
Lewis
sleep inside of
smelled
her
bad
in the middle
on
of
the
sub-zero
outside.
temperature.
She probably bathes regularly.
She's very attractive. I'm sure she bathes all the time.
She's listening to this.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey Jenny, it's
Love
Nick.
you, Jenny. I loved in the fourth cave, the lava monsters looked like the engineers from Prometheus. I saw it and I was
Dude,
like,
they
that's an
did.
engineer.
Yeah,
The ones that were
cool.
like,
they totally did.
Yeah,
they did a little bit.
I can see
They
that.
kind of looked like them.
Yeah.
Just for a second, but then they were like trying to kill me instantly, so I didn't have time to like stare and admire. You know,
Like the engineers from Prometheus.
Does that like pop out? They're the ones that just like pop out as they were talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah, dude, they were creepy
Yeah.
as hell.
they looked like
I
they
didn't
looked
like
like
that.
them for a little bit.
I did not like that.
Andrew, Polish last name in quotes. He said that himself because I think I said that. Jacek.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Jacek said, so I guess Don Flamenco retired from Punch Out Boxing League and became chief of Bella Cola Island.
That's really
And I was
funny.
like, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. True.
Dude, it's so crazy.
For those who can't see us, which is everyone but the
Everyone.
four of us, Luke just did the Don Flamenco thing.
Bet you wish you could see that.
Yep.
Too bad.
Guys, we really need face cams.
We're
on you
lending
guys.
credence. We're lending credence to all the people that say that on YouTube.
I would never lend my credence to anybody. Dude, I love my CCR. Hold on to that shit.
One time I lent my credence to a girl in 9th grade and she never gave it back. That's actually true, but it was a Ramones CD that I lent.
I did that with a Bachman Turner Overdrive CD.
Yo,
Well,
BTO,
thank God.
don't fuck around,
Yo,
dog.
BTO.
man.
TCOB and brothers.
Dude,
Just
we
taking
got
care
some
of business.
fucking
That's right.
classic rock over here, man.
Well, Josh and I grew up on ZZO.
Josh,
did. We grew up
Josh
on,
and I were talking
um,
about making out with girls, and I distinctly remember making out with a girl to BOC.
Blue Oyster Cult.
Blue Oyster
yeah.
Cult,
Oh, there's
motherfucker.
ones in
Hell
Canada.
I fucked a Zeppelin. That's happened.
Yeah?
I've done that.
It was burning for you.
That's perfect.
yeah,
Nice.
super good.
Because your dick was probably instantly hard.
Well, yeah, dude.
Dude, in 9th grade, as soon as you touch a girl, your dick is hard.
Dude, that's what
true.
happens in 9th grade. Just
You don't even have to touch.
You're just
So you're like, there's
Yeah.
potential that we will touch later.
if like
boner.
if you
Instant
fart and
boner.
it blows up the front of your ball sack, you get a boner from that.
Instant boner in 9th grade.
All you 9th graders out here, enjoy that.
Enjoy that.
Also,
Wait,
put
let
on-
me know.
Good.
Put on Blue Oyster Cult and burn it for you and see if you
Yeah.
get a boner.
But what
if
about-
you do, success. If
Yeah.
not, think
Okay.
about your life.
Yeah.
What about TSO?
TSO.
Trans-Siberian
Trans-Siberian
Dude, I don't want to talk about that. I got the flu one year, and all night long on VH1, they just played Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and I had the craziest Christmas fever dreams.
You were like
Okay.
making out with the girl.
Yeah.
Ding
TSO
da da
came
ding
on.
ding da da ding ding
Dude.
da da ding.
Speaking of music, why don't we talk about the music from the game?
Oh,
And
the
sound.
game.
Transition. Plus 5 ball.
Yeah. I'm seriously picking up Pokemon vibes from this. Through the
Yeah,
whole
absolutely.
thing, man. Definitely some Pokemon vibes.
I never played Pokemon, but I'm gonna assume you're right.
But
Yeah.
it was a Nintendo. That was a Nintendo game, wasn't it?
Pokemon?
Sure.
Wasn't it?
It was a Game Boy game, yeah.
I mean, no. I mean, I know it was for the Nintendo
Yes.
system,
But they made
I-
it, yes.
Yeah. It was a development company in there, so I think probably this dude was like, make the music like this,
Yeah.
because this is what it should be like.
Hang on.
Uh,
Wait,
Who
what?
said that?
I think Star Tropics was first.
Yes.
The guy that did the music
But did he?
for Star Tropics was like,
He called.
Make the music
He called
like this.
Pokemon guy.
he
and
called
said-
Pokemon guys. And
They were
said,
friends in college.
He said, make the musics like this.
Yo, bro.
That's as deep as
Bro.
I meant that comment to be. That is exactly as deep as I meant that comment.
I just got confused because you were like, I got a Pokemon Bob. I think they told him like, make the music like this. So I didn't understand if you meant.
I should have been more specific about the fake people that I was making up.
And then fake stories that they were about each other.
The fake horrible stories.
And they were like, and then this, and they did. That's what that story was like.
And then he was like, and then
And
he
then they
said,
did.
Pronoun.
Shit.
Andrew's Jazak again. I got his name right the first time, and I know I'm doing it wrong now, which
I
really
think it's
pisses me off.
Zajac. I don't know.
I think it's
No,
Jadzik. I think it's Jadzik.
All
If
right.
it was Zajac, he'd be like, like Pat.
Yeah, you'd say that.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
People still watch that?
is he still on there?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's old as shit.
Dude, he's
wow.
never gonna leave.
Who's gonna take him over?
I think they're gonna shut it down when he's done.
Really?
Or no, they're gonna get what's Drew Carey?
Drew Carey.
probably.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Yo, for all of you listening at home, I'm like the king of tangents. So
Yeah.
Yes.
suck on that.
I think the reason why we're like really good friends, Nick, is because I just go with it. I'm just like, yeah, let's talk
You're
about
like,
this
yeah,
now.
let's talk about that now. All right, sweet.
Andrew
Poor
Jazak.
Paul.
Andrew Jazak. I'm okay with it.
Guiding the ship.
I try and keep us going.
I'm guiding the subsea.
It's like I have 3 Mike Joneses rowing this boat right now.
Everybody's got one arm.
That would actually
I'm
work.
like, guys, go the other way.
Oh, yeah, that's kind of
Some of us would have to
Even
sit
over-
one way, and some of us would have to sit the other
As
way.
long as we have an odd number of pitchers
Right.
on the boat, we'll be fine, right?
Nick's the war drummer, like, dun, 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 and all of a sudden he's like, hey, you guys know this one?
Yeah, I'm just like, do, name it. Do.
Wait, what is that? I know what that is.
That's Phil Collins.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's right. Here we go.
I can see this boat going in circles.
That's not even close.
That was horrible. I started singing it, and I was like, dude, guys, I can see, and then I was like, oh god, I don't know how.
Oh, you do that all the time.
I was like, I have no idea how this is
You're
gonna
on
go.
the show. Whenever there's like a song, you start to sing it, and then you just sing it totally wrong. And I'm just like, I have this moral dilemma. I'm like, well, it's really, really funny, but do I put it out there so my friend crashes and burns, or do I cut it out and save him?
This is
Usually
getting
I
cut
save
out.
him. Usually I save him.
No.
This is getting cut out.
This is too good.
No, I'm
Nah,
not gonna
dude,
do it.
You put this in here.
No, I'm not
Dude,
doing it.
you
I'm
put
not
this in
doing it
here.
because there was a nice pause before it that I can cut
I'm
it.
gonna call back to it later in the thing.
Let me the post close. Andrew again wrote in and said, I hate that low energy beep worst of all because it
Dude.
reminds me of the crappy old car that has the undiagnosable squeak coming from the wheel front end,
Oh my
which
God.
I can't associate with at all.
I can.
What the fuck is that?
Dude, but
Oh,
yeah.
dude, I can relate to that. My girlfriend's, or my girlfriend, my fucking wife, her old car that she got before, like,
Whoops.
that she just said, "Ooh, sorry, baby, my bad." But she used to have this Volkswagen, and the trunk mechanism got, like, fucked up. So, like, whenever she would hit a bump, it would think that the trunk is open, but it's
Oh,
not.
yeah.
Right? So every, like, bump would just be like,
Oh, it's so annoying.
Dude.
That's exactly it.
That sound,
So bad.
I quit playing multiple times because of that sound. I fucking hate that sound in that
dude,
game.
he makes
It
the point.
sucks.
It's not rhythmic. It's not rhythmic like in Zelda, where it's
Right.
just like a rhythmic pulse. It goes along with what you're doing in the game. So like you'll be hitting things and it'll go, and you're like, respite,
Mm-hmm.
and then all of a sudden it'll be like, and do the thing again. You're like, I gotta keep killing things. It's so annoying.
dude, it's so bad. It's like, why is that a thing? Like,
don't know.
Like, I can see the screen. Like, I'm doing this
I
visual
got it.
thing.
Yeah.
I can see that I have
Yeah.
3. I don't need this reminder.
I'm pretty
Once.
conscious of the fact that I'm nearly dead.
Right.
I've
Which-
got him.
Which in this game
Is all the time.
is all the fucking
Yeah.
time.
All the time.
There's if you have 3 hearts in this game, you're a fucking master of Nintendo. Like
Dude, yeah.
you're goddamn Captain N if you
Yeah.
got 3 hearts in this game at any point.
Dude,
this game's
You
hard.
get like hearts every once in a while, right? But they're so spread out,
Yeah.
right? But by the end of the game, they're just like giving them to you, like, here, take them, take all this stuff, and then you get this thing, and it's just like full all the way. It's like, oh, you mean that stuff I was like looking for doesn't really matter. I can just get this and just be
Right.
filled up all the way. That
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
stupid.
Why did I search around for those other things?
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, it like rewards your exploration at first, and then punishes you for that exploration, and then it's like you don't need to explore.
That's
shit's
life.
not
That's life, man.
That's life.
That was another one of the things too. Is with exploring and doing all that stuff. It's like, all right, so you've been doing this game this way. We didn't really expect you to make it this far. Take all this other stuff, man.
we thought you'd quit by now.
Go finish this game, please.
Also, every enemy is going to get 20 times harder, just so you know.
Just so you know.
Like, not even like gradually harder, but just like hard as fuck all the time.
Yeah, Connor
yeah.
Fraser wrote in though. There's a varying level of difficulty in this game. It really oscillates back and forth because like the bosses are super easy a lot of the times,
Right.
And the levels are incredibly tough, like which is the exact opposite of most games, you know?
Right.
Like some of the bosses. This is Connor Fraser. I said his name right.
Yes.
Okay, like it's like ridiculous how much it like varies and how much it goes back and forth between difficulty
Yeah.
levels. It's really strange. It's like really, really strange. Also, Connor sent us some really great pictures, which I'm gonna link to in the show notes for this.
Yay.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Yeah, this game is all trial and error. Like,
Yeah, it really is. Like,
very
there's
true.
no way, without, like, following a guide, there's no way that you would know some of that shit and
Right.
what you're supposed to do
Right.
and how you're supposed to do it, especially with that fucking rod of seeing or whatever.
Right.
It's just, like, in the one dungeon where you get it, like, the graveyard one, like, you have to use it on certain screens
Yeah.
and kill everything in it to, like, to advance. Like,
Yeah.
Right.
like, you'll go into a screne and they'll be like, oh, you can go down, but if you go down, it takes you out of the level. So you're like, all right, what the fuck am I doing? Like, I spent like half an hour wandering around this shit, and then I went on this like walkthrough, and it was like, oh, use the thing on here, and these ghosts appear, and kill these ghosts, and,
And
it makes
then
a
a
new
door
path.
opens,
And I'm just
yeah.
like, well, how the fuck am I supposed to know
Yeah.
that when I have 4 fucking rods of seeing that I can use in this level?
Yeah.
It's like the kneel down in Castlevania. Kneel down at the wall when the moon
Right.
and fucking whatever the fuck that
No,
shit
but
is.
that's like different because if there was like a fucking townsperson that said that shit to me,
Right.
I
Right.
would remember it. But there's not.
But there's not.
Yeah, here's something I want to say about this game. All right, today a lot of people complain about games because they over-explain things to you,
Right.
and there's not as much challenge. People think, and I think that's versus the old style of games where they couldn't explain a lot of things to you because they probably didn't have time to put all that into a game.
Right.
Plus, the games were more simplistic and they didn't have the resources available to put you through these tutorial levels. This game is on that extreme far end of that old style spectrum.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm just not a good gamer. Maybe I'm not a hardcore gamer.
You're not
whatever.
Major League Gaming.
I'm not a major. I'm on MLG.
MLG.
But that's not fun to me.
No, it's
No.
not.
I don't like it when something oversimplifies.
Mm-hmm.
But I'd like it to be like, here's like, all right. I was listening to an interview with Will Wright, and he basically says that he was saying how gaming is basically doing the scientific method. You form a hypothesis about the game, you test, you record your results, you check out what they were, and then you adjust. And you
Right.
do it over and over again. It's really hard when you have no starting point for your hypothesis.
Right.
When it's like, oh, wait, I'm in this world, and now I got to completely figure out... like, if I had to figure out the most basic of things with this game, like the rod of sight, like, give me a point that's like, here, use this right now,
Right.
just so you know how this item works right away. and then you'll know how to use it for the rest. Of
Yeah.
Well, the problem is like what we talked about before. Like you can't go back into a town to like talk to people again. So they didn't even bother putting in things like use the rod of sight in the 5th whatever. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like some cryptic ass thing like an NPC would say. You can't do that. There's no option to do that. So that you're not gonna know, and that's the whole thing. Like you gotta have something. Like I need to know something. If you make it a riddle or a puzzle, fine, but make me think about it. There's nothing like that in this game.
Right. There's no like teaching in this game. It's just kind of like figure it out.
Yeah.
And you'll learn yourself magically, but like you never will. Like there's no way to know those things. Like Ego Raptor did this thing about he did this series called Sequelitis. Mm-hmm. He talks about Mega Man X, about how like in the first like intro stage to that thing, it doesn't tell you how to play the game. It shows you how to do it, and you figure it out yourself, and you feel like a fucking genius because you figured it out.
It's like Super Meat Boy.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And there's like some parts in this game that are kind of like that. Like you're walking through that graveyard and you're like, oh, I bet it's that odd looking one. Yeah, and that's like an easy one, but at the same time, it's like I figured that out. Nobody told me that. I figured that out, but that's just like a simple thing and not like not like a gameplay mechanic. That's like a story thing.
Right.
You know, and this game needs like something to teach you how to progress and how to use it, so you feel like you're accomplishing things rather than just like
you figured it out by chance.
Right. You magically figured it out.
Yeah.
Right.
One time.
Yeah, Luke.
Huh?
Oh, they had something to say.
Well, you better think of something because
I
Now you're on the
did,
spot.
and then we
And
moved
then
on.
fucking
And
Tangent
then
Jones took over.
Now I'm trying to remember what it was. What were we talking about before Nick said his thing?
Learning
saying
about things.
the NPC. There's no.
Oh, right. So, yeah, but that's like indicative of like that whole era. You know, like it's a little bit about what you said. There's no real like money in the development of a game to be like, all right, well, we got to give these guys a tutorial level first.
Right.
And you can't go back and forth to the town. But then again, there is no real reason to go back to the town because all the characters say the exact same things over and over again, except for the lady in the one island on the lighthouse who is like, oh, you didn't find it yet? There must be secret things. Like she's the only person
that
who
kind of
has like new shit to say ever.
Right.
And that's like one of the only times that you figure something out for yourself because you go to that beach, the next beach over is that bottle or whatever that you need to get.
You can't get to it.
And you're like, shit, how the fuck do I get there? Until you try something and you're like, oh, there it is right there.
Yeah.
So like at that point you feel like, oh, wow, there's secret fucking caves. I learned that. That's awesome.
And then you're going around the rest of the game looking
trying
for caves.
every fucking thing in the world,
Right.
dude.
Yeah.
And at least where Zelda, its trial and error was based around like a map, and so you're like a rat in a maze.
Right.
You got to like figure out where to go. Here in Star Tropics, which is trying to emulate that kind of vibe, there is no like figure out which way to go. You can only go forward.
Right.
It's life, man.
Right.
There is yeah.
No, but no, that's what I mean. Like you can't go back to think about anything. There's just like, well, this is where I am now.
Right.
What do I do?
Yeah, I mean, Nathan Kestner wrote in and talked about how unfair the dungeons were, and how you get that feeling of like catharsis upon beating them, which you do get in this game.
Yeah.
But it's I think it's a little bit too much work to get to that catharsis.
You
lose that catharsis if you give the people too much help, but they don't give you enough to. I personally.
It's a balance, and
Yeah.
I got really tired of playing the dungeons before I ever gave a shit about
Right.
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 Well, not, like there's that catharsis of like finishing it because you're like, oh shit, I fucking did it. But like you don't have anything to show for it other than you don't have to do that again.
Right. Yeah.
You don't have to do that dungeon again
Because you
got
barely
your high
get
score.
You go.
You
You have your high score,
bro.
Oh yeah.
Send that shit to Nintendo
There's
Power.
that.
Congratulations, you did it.
You did it! Wow. So ridiculous.
What's that? It's a fucking Rampage. Congratulations, you beat the game.
Yeah.
Thanks.
A winner is
Thanks.
you.
A winner
See ya.
is you. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
but, and you don't get items. You don't get cool items to carry on. I mean, you get a couple as you go along,
Dude.
but you don't get that many.
All the sub weapons are fucking awesome.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
so good.
That
man.
bat is rules.
Dude, that bat is like strong as shit. When you get to the last level, like, which one is it? Stage 6, chapter 6 or whatever. The dungeons there give you the best shit ever, right?
Right.
You get this thing, right? They let you jump twice as far,
Right.
but then you
That's-
lose
yeah.
it on the next screen.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is that?
That's
Give me that
that's
forever now. I
ridiculous.
want
Yeah.
that forever.
That's
Like-
that's poor design.
Exactly. It's like build cool gameplay elements. Like if all those items stayed in the game and they found, like Zelda,
Right.
found ways to use them throughout all the dungeons and made them build on themselves,
Right.
would have been awesome. But instead, they just randomly, and it created that trial and error feel because suddenly you get new items and you're figuring out a new.
Right.
It felt like they were all over the place with like their concepts and ideas for this game.
Right, and you try and like figure out these puzzles because like you learn early on. Okay, you're like, okay, I can jump to the next block, or I can jump across one block. So now there's like puzzle solving elements for that.
Right.
But then when you introduce that second block thing, you're like, oh, well now there's this other shit. Like, how do I get from here to here?
Right.
Using this thing.
Maybe
But
there's
then,
a different way. Maybe
Yeah.
I need to think differently.
But then it goes away, man. And
Yeah.
like like you get like these like ninja stars that like you throw them and then you hit a button and they split into 2 stars. Like that's cool. But like
That's cool.
give me that all the time. Like make them like refillable. But you should just have like
The
a
option to
supply.
do that.
Right.
Right.
You even get this one like really awesome one. It's like this like foot with spikes is like the icon.
Uh-huh.
But you use it and he fucking jumps across the screen, jump kicking every enemy on
Liu
it.
Kang. He's Liu
Dude,
Kang in it.
It's awesome, man. He just like appears like pow, 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 pow.
You know what
Kills
annoyed
everybody.
You know what annoyed me was the fact that the third area, the ghost area, was so long,
Dude.
compared to all the other dungeons.
It's like long
What?
and it's like it's like the biggest like maze
Yeah.
Well,
because,
it's when Jesus went to hell.
Yeah.
and-
wandering around the desert for 40 years,
Yeah,
man.
he's walking around the dead.
what it is.
More
Yeah.
Bible,
Dude,
Yeah.
that's what it is, man.
dude.
Same thing with Jesus. If he chose the wrong path, he'd start all over.
Yeah, and he didn't have spiky feet.
No, he did not have spiky feet.
He's the
Motherfucker's
son of
barefoot.
God.
Yeah.
Motherfucker's barefoot.
Here, go down to earth. Don't take shoes or anything.
Yeah.
Whatever. No big deal.
You won't need him. You're God.
Yeah.
They'll
me.
probably kill
You're
you.
Me. You're me. Same thing. Whatever. I mean, you're my son, but
You're
I'm
me, and
also
there's a
you.
third guy too. We don't
Yeah.
talk about him
Talk
much
about the
though.
third guy. Not at all.
He doesn't even
Well,
have a
one
voice.
God. One God, guys. One God.
Yep.
Welcome to Atheism Chat.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, look, the game's fun to a certain extent. I enjoyed it a lot of times, and when I beat certain parts and certain levels, when you got in that zone and you're jumping and like killing enemies with regularity, it feels good.
Yeah.
But it doesn't always
Feels
have
good,
that.
man.
Well, you
Felt
fly
good,
out of
man.
that. You fly out of that zone real quick. If you
Yeah.
if you die, you're out of the zone. That's it.
Yeah.
You lost all your shit,
Yeah.
and you're
Absolutely.
done. You're back at some dumbass spot that like arbitrarily you're at now.
Right.
Like it's I don't know. I agree with Luke actually.
True story. Kenny Loggins' song is about this game,
Which one?
Highway to the Danger Zone.
This is the danger
This
zone.
is the Danger Zone.
Yeah.
Danger Zone. No, it's
Sing a song with the wrong.
I don't even know if I could. I don't even know if I could try to. I don't know. Whatever.
I can't even do it.
I know,
What?
I know.
can't even do it. I can't even try and like.
Highway to the danger zone.
It's gotta have it regular.
I can't do it. It's too close. You're right. I can't even.
Close. Too close.
But I mean, the thing with this game was it was fun. It was enjoyable to a certain extent, but it was too much. I feel like it was an R&D like guy, like he was
Yeah.
testing things.
Right.
I feel like he didn't really have a solid idea of what he wanted to do. He had a lot of ideas and he just threw them all in there.
And there were a lot of good ideas.
Yeah.
Right.
They just didn't belong together
They didn't cohere.
in a goofy ass game about islands and fucking yo-yos.
Right. Like, when I first started playing this game, that was good. When we first started playing this game, I was like, man, I don't know why this game wasn't popular as all the other Nintendo games. But now after playing it for a while, I'm like, I see
get it.
why.
Yeah,
it was
I
a step.
get it.
It was a
Yeah.
step below their quality.
Yeah.
Yeah. It like some people said it's like I was reading online that it's like a spiritual successor to Legend of Zelda, and I don't feel like that at all. Like I feel like it definitely was like an influence, but like it just didn't improve
Right.
on that
Yeah,
fucking
it-
awasomeness.
So let's wrap it up and we'll give our final feelings on the game. We'll start with Luke.
Fuck this game.
All right.
All right.
That's a game over from Luke.
Game over, motherfucker. Because no, that I did not really enjoy what we played on the first time, and I was like, you know what, maybe I just need to give this game more of a chance. And the more chances I gave this game, the more it kept fucking slapping me in the taint. Like, it is not fun. It is not enjoyable.
Yeah.
And for everybody who likes this game, you're entitled to your opinion. You're an idiot.
Let's hear from Jeff.
We should have Luke on more often.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll come back next week, next 2 weeks. I agree with Luke totally. If you love dying over and over again for random reasons each time, like there's barely a pattern to this. then you should play this game. I would game over this game. It's fucking frustrating. I almost punched my monitor many times playing it. Fuck it.
Nick?
For me, I think I would continue just because, like, I totally get what you guys are saying, and I totally, like, feel the same way. But for me, it's just, like, it's fun enough to, like, keep going. It's not fun to die. Definitely not fun to die and start over and stuff like that.
Nope.
But, like, but for me, I'm like, all right, well, I just want to, like, finish this out. Like, I feel like I've played enough, and it's not, like, for me, it's not, like, a chore to finish it out. So I think I would, like, I'm, like, close to the end anyway. So I think I would, like, just kind of see it through just, like, once. Probably give it like 2 weeks, like, to breathe, so I don't have to, like, think about it right now. But then I would, like, revisit it at some
2-week
point.
wine.
Yeah, exactly. Just recharge these batteries and get back into it. But yeah, I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, I could also, because, like, I had this game when I was a kid, but, like, I never beat it when I was a kid, so that might be kind of influencing how I feel about it.
Yeah.
But whatever, who cares?
Whatever, who cares?
Whatever, who cares?
My feelings were the opposite initially of Luke. First time I played it, really enjoyed it. I was
Agreed.
looking forward to going back to it, actually. Second time I played it, just wasn't feeling it anymore.
Yeah.
And it started to reveal itself to me, especially in that third area, that this game just wasn't for me. And I went on a little further, but then I was like, you know what? I don't think I want to keep going, just because it's just not doing it for me. It's just it felt tossed together. It felt like it was just a big goulash of ideas that just didn't mesh. Delicious.
Delicious mess of shit.
Delicious mess of shit.
Shit goulash.
So I'm gonna have to game over on this one, and I know that we have a lot of game overs here for a game that's very popular, and I hope that the next game can be a lot better. Because
What is our next game?
we should announce that right now. The next game, as voted on by our community and by us, is gonna be Final Fantasy 3, aka Final Fantasy 6, in Japan.
Okay. For our Japanese listeners.
Or no, wait. It is 3 in Japan, 6 here, right? No, it's
No.
3 here.
No, you
6.
said it right the
here.
first time.
I am always
3
so
here.
confused.
Super
with that.
Nintendo Final Fantasy 3.
Super
Yes.
Super
Figure
Nintendo
it out.
Final Fantasy 3. Very
One-
popular
the one
game.
with the Moogle.
Yeah, this is going to be a nostalgic one for all of us because all of us have played this game
Yeah.
before. But I haven't revisited it in years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So
I
this
used
is
to
gonna-
play it once a year, but I haven't done that in a while. So it'd actually be really nice to, like,
That's
go
cool.
back and go for
Yeah.
it.
So I'm sure a lot of people have played this game. This will be a fun one. Maybe this one won't even be as much about your initial impressions, but give like your memories of the game and things that like. Let's take a trip down memory lane with the next episode.
Let's
and talk
hold
about
hands.
games. Let's hold hands down nostalgia
Maybe we
lane.
can kiss and touch boobs like in 9th grade.
And get boners instantly.
Yeah. Fart boner.
I'm burning for you.
Nick is thinking you made out and then you went back and played your yearly playing of Final Fantasy 3 after that.
Best
didn't
day
you?
ever.
That's what I do.
Best day ever.
All right, so that's our verdicts in our next game. So we're gonna wrap it up here, guys. I want to say that we're gonna be posting a couple links. We're gonna be posting some links to pictures that were sent to us by Jordan Truthbringer, further proving the Christian undertones in this game, as well as Connor, his pictures. And we're gonna be there's a video that was sent to us by Michael Kupka, and we're gonna be posting a link to that as well. So those are gonna be in the description of the episode. So if you guys want to see those. Feel free to swing by either Podomatic or iTunes or on YouTube and check out the details of the episode, and we'll have all the links there for you guys to check out. Also, we want to thank everybody who wrote in. It's really awesome when you guys send us emails, and if you have thoughts on the next game, send us an email to continuepodcast@gmail.com. And we'll be sure we try to put in as many responses as we can. And, it just makes the show better and it makes it a little more interactive with you guys. And also, we want to thank people that are leaving us 5-star reviews on iTunes.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm going to read a couple of them. I think we started with, I don't think we did Candlemass, who wrote in. And he said, I have a crush on Raul. Which
we don't
which
talk about
very
him.
disappointing to me.
Yeah,
Very
that's not appropriate. He's
that's-
not even on the show.
It's like,
How did that get a 5-star review? If I was in charge, it'd be revoked.
but he does look like me, so
Well, that works out.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's handsome.
Okay. We got another 5-star review from Hessboy. He said the show is really well made.
Oh,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
That's nice.
Thank you, because we work really hard.
Yeah, you
Let's
should
get
listen.
some
You should
more
listen to
hands.
more podcasts.
You should listen to better podcasts.
Speaking of, the next one is from You Should Listen 1/Blazeboyd, and he said, really good, love the games and the cast.
Oh, thanks.
Thanks, we're the cast. That
That's
makes us
us.
happy.
We don't have anything to do with the games, but we're the cast.
Will Eccles said, these guys are definitely streets ahead. Community
Streets
reference.
ahead.
I
Way to
love
go,
it.
man.
Oh, nice job.
Super bonus.
Love the community reference. Liam Riggs wrote in and said, I love Continue. I love podcasts. I double love Continuecast.
Dude, that's awesome.
Is that continue times 2 or continue squared? What would that equal out to?
Continue, sure, squared.
They're different.
Yeah, that's a big difference.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah, dude.
Because then we're talking about cubic yards and it's
Yeah, there's a whole
Yeah.
different dimension.
Square
Talking about-
footage.
yeah,
Let's not
volume
get
versus
maths.
length.
Let's
you
not
know?
get maths here, guys.
All right.
Maths are crazy.
All right.
Um,
So I don't want to go off on a tangent again. I'm going to hang myself when I go home. I'm going to hang myself.
Math joke.
Sokotoa. There's also a couple more 5-star reviews, but we're going to save a couple of them for next week because they keep growing. There's a pretty long list still. We don't want to spend the entire end of the episode talking about it.
Are there any 1-star reviews? I'd like to read those.
We have not gotten a single 1-star review. Thank you,
You
reviewers.
guys are very kind.
It's very nice of you, Internet, to do that.
Very nice.
Yes.
So thanks again, guys, for listening. Be sure to get involved for the next episode. Remember, Final Fantasy III for the SNES. That's what we're playing. Get your Moogle on.
Get your
Get your Google on.
Get your Moogle on. Get your Moogle on.
Get your Moogle alone.
So we'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Thank you for listening to the Continuecast. Our theme music is written and performed by Chris Connolly, aka DataCats. Check out his Facebook page at facebook.com/DJCats8bit. The Continuecast is produced by Paul Ritchey, Nick Murphy, Josh Henderson, and our special guest, Luke Brown. Email us at continuepodcast@gmail.com. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/continueshow, and follow us on Twitter at continueshow.
Welcome to another episode of the Continuecast.
Welcome to the Continuecast.
My boner is on.
I think,
If you had a boner on Mars, you'd have a super boner. Because you're used to having like an Earth regular gravity boner.
Terrestrial bone.
But then on Mars, it'd be bigger because there's less gravity on Mars.
damn it, Nick, why do you always get to be the post-roll thing? I already know that that's going to be the post-roll thing.
It's like my brother. Like my brother had a podcast. It'd be like that.